Hey there guys, it's Zologe here with the deck profile for the Noble Knights. This is a TCG exclusive deck that revolves around using these Noble Arms spell card to make your Noble King, whatever, really difficult to get over and just slowly beating you down your opponent with it. This deck is actually kind of okay. It's not the most meta deck in the world, it's actually kind of crap, but it does work very well if you get to use it in a timely manner, I guess. If you get used to playing it, you can do some really nasty shenanigans with this deck, but without further ado, let's go into the deck profile and explain choices as we go along. So first we run the two Noble Knight Arthurian. This is our targets for the Rescue Rabbit play. You can alternatively also use them to discard for the effect of, well, for the special summoning clause of Ignoble Knight of Blackland Sullen. Or however it's supposed to pronounce it. I don't know. But yeah. Lancel in here, you can tribute one Noble Knight monster you control, I guess, to add one Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand. Also, you can special summon by discarding one light normal monster either you control or one you have in your hand. Which is, you know, pretty decent. Next we go for the 1 Hectare. This is basically just to make a rank 5 play, should you not have access to Medrot or what have you. And when he's used for a rank 5 play, you actually get, your opponent cannot respond to the summon, which is one of their very few outs to the card, unless they're playing some really random deck that actually has a ton of answers for it. Next we go for the double Noble Knight Gawain. This card is, you know, pretty cool too, because it allows you to go for easy rank 4 plays and things like that in this particular deck. It's just a fun card to mess around with, and it's play saver sometimes when you don't have access to other things, or when something just got beat down and you don't have access to the last chapter. He's still a nice play saver. Next we go for the triple Medrot. This is a staple. You just equip him with a Noble Arms spell card, and then while he's alone on the field, you basically special summon one Noble Knight from your deck, and then you ditch its equip spell. However, the equip spells themselves, they can re-equip themselves to other Noble Knights as long as you control more than one when they're destroyed, which is really awesome. So, and its target for Medrot's effect is, of course, your boars, which searches out more of your, you know, Noble Arms spell card to keep the, you know, momentum going and eventually going into things like the Arthurian and things like that. Next we go for 2 Bedvere. Yes, this is actually a really interesting card. It was just like released and whatever. So when it's normal or special summon, you can send one Noble Arms equipped spell card from your deck to their graveyard. During other player's turn, you can target one Noble Arms equipped spell card and one appropriate monster on the field equip that equipped spell card to that target. This effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. So you can basically use this guy to get effects on your other Noble Knights. Should you have like a Merlin already on board when you have like a Medrot or something, and you just need, you know, something like a ditch cards that you don't have access to for whatever reason, I don't know, because Boris is fucking amazing, but still. Next to go for the 1 Rescue Rabbit. This is for a rank 4 play. Generally, you're going to be going into the Arthurian, but you can also go into things like Excalibur or Castell should you need to beat over something, and that's basically why he's there. Next we go for the triple Merlin. This is a Lone Fire Blossom for this deck. You basically tribute him to special summon out one Medrot, or actually one Noble Knight monster from your deck, period. So you can go for things like Hectare or the Ignoble Knight should you actually like really need them at the time. However, your main targets for this are of course going to be your Noble Knight Medrot or the Bedvere. Next up we go for the Guinevere, and this card is just you can equip it to a Noble Knight monster you control, and it gains different effects depending on the attribute, if it's light or dark. If it's light, it's protection. If it's dark, you can send this card to the graveyard when it battles an opponent's monster to destroy it. Basically it gives it a catastrophe effect. And also you can equip it from your hand or graveyard once per turn, which is pretty cool. Since it's not an actual spell card, you know, your Arthurian is not going to like recruit back when you go into it. So, but she can recruit herself back, which is amazing. Next we go for 1 Lady of the Lake. This is our entryway into the Ignoble Knight of Highland Solin. So yeah, You use him basically to search out equip spells and things like that. And once you have them in your graveyard, you can do whatever the crap you please, because you can search them back and all that good stuff. And whenever it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to your graveyard, you can add one Noble Knight or Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand, which is amazing. And it says card too, so it doesn't specify if it's monster or spell, which means that you can search out this thing, which is treated as a Noble Arms, which is awesome. Next we go for the one glow bulb. It's basically the same as the Lady of the Lake, because this does not actually specify what tuner you need to use. So you can use things like the glow bulb to make it. Next we go for the triple reinforcement of the army. You basically search out your Medrots and things like that, just to add an extra consistency to the deck. I mean, it's a 3, why shouldn't I run it? Next we run the 2 last chapter. This is basically a Boojin Carnation for the deck. When you don't control any monsters and your opponent controls a monster, you can target one Noble Arm spell card and one Noble Knight monster in your graveyard, special summon the monster, and then equip it with the equip spell card. And you basically just summon Medrot, give it an equip spell, and then just use Medrot's effect to bring out something else and go for your crazy shenanigans. Next we go for the double Noble Arms of Destiny. You don't... I just like to run 2 of them because, you know, it's a protection card, and running 3 seems a little bit overboard considering just how much you search for these things. And sometimes, since you can only control one of these at a time, they can be dead at times. So if you draw into them, so you're playing very much a risk game when you play Noble Knights. Then of course we go for the double Gallatin. Gallatin is just going to give you an extra 1000 attack, and it lowers your opponent's lowers the monster's attack by 200 each standby phase. Each of your standby phases, rather. So it's a nice 1000 extra attack points, which, you know, is pretty cool, and it re-equips itself with cards when it's destroyed, just like all the other Noble Arms cards, aside from Guinevere. Next we go for the double Caliburn. This card's effect, it basically gives your monster 500 extra attack, and once per turn you can gain 500 life points, which is pretty cool. And if it's destroyed, of course, you get to re-equip it to a Noble Knight monster you control. Then we run the triple Caliburn. This is the only Noble Arms card that we're going to be running triples of, just because of how damn good it is, since it prevents your Noble Knight monster from being targeted by card effects. And it has an additional effect in the graveyard, but you're not going to be using that too often. But it's there in case you really need it. It's also the only Noble Arms card which does not have the effect that it can re-equip itself. So yeah. And then finally we have the ARTHURIAN, which is just a MST in form of a equip spell card. Just make your monster lose 500 attack points, and then you just get to pop a set card on the field, which is pretty cool. And then finally we run the 2 Royal Decrees. Because this deck does not run any traps, you kind of just want to lock your opponent out of using them too. I would run Denko Seka, but it kind of ruins the consistency for this particular deck. So yeah. As for the extra deck, we run 2 Lansolins, 1 Gaia Dragon, 1 Crystal Zero Lancer, 1 Wind-Up Arsenal Sen Mayo, 1 Tiras, 1 Volcasaurus, 1 Sacred King, no, actually, triple Sacred King, 1 Freezer Dawn, double Normal King, I guess, then 1 Excalibur, and 1 Castel. And that runs up the extra deck, guys. So tell me what you think, and I'm out.